Another powerful source is the MLS, Multiple Listing Service. This is a system where realtors compile houses that they have listed for sale and that are available only if you're an agent and you pay for the multiple listing service. Now, a lot of you might not be realtors, so this is all brand new to you. I like the multiple listing service because it's an opportunity for us to find out what's gonna hit the market, what is out there that is low-hanging fruit. And by low-hanging fruit, I mean actually for sale, because we're gonna go a lot of different techniques here. We're gonna go off-market, share of sales, probate deals, and this multiple listing service has a number behind it, that what you can buy a house for. Whether the number's too high or too low, we don't know yet. But this is the low-hanging fruit for us, which also makes it the most competitive. So when it's that easy, a lot of people will be after it. A few things you wanna do whenever you're trying to find listings off the MLS is, first of all, you need to get them. A couple ways to get them. One, either be a realtor and have access, set yourself up with some hot sheets where you're gonna get properties that have keywords like handyman special, contractor, investor, cash only, as is. A few of those targeted keywords that trigger, hey, this property needs work, and that's what you wanna get. So you could do it that way, or you could also team up whenever you're building your team like we talked about before, and have an agent that you're working with that understands what you're doing and what you're growing your team to be, and they hook you up with a hot sheet. And basically that's where you're gonna get an email campaign every single day of properties that are for sale. And you even wanna break this down into areas and areas that you think are appreciating, and get emails daily on that. So right when you get an email for a property that you think could be a great wholesale deal and has great upside, that agent that sent it to you knows that they're gonna represent you in the transaction. That's what's in it for them. So the more and more deals you do and the more comfortable the realtor gets with you, and then other realtors will become more comfortable with you as the buyer, the easier it'll be for you to acquire more properties that are listed on the MLS. So the MLS is a huge network, a huge system, and can be a huge advantage. So I highly recommend that when you build your team, you make sure you find that realtor that wants to grow with you and let them know, this is what I'm doing it with or without you. I'd love to have you on my team, and I can be your best client when it comes to buying stuff on the MLS. We've gone over hot sheets, getting out there, understanding the data, receiving all the data, how we want to structure it. But now let me give you some tips just about buying off the MLS, things that I believe gave me an advantage and helped me be able to buy so many things off the MLS, and share them with you, and easy things that you can implement right away in your business to start picking up deals. So first thing is speed. I talk a lot about this, like, when we talk about getting a realtor on our team, like, hey, are you full-time? Are you part-time? What's your commitment? For me, just on all levels, speed wins in everything. And it's just a sense of urgency. Like, I want to go look at that off-market house. I want to go look at that MLS house. Like, I want to see when this stuff is listed and see it the second it's listed. And I want it to hit my inbox, and I want to know what's going on. It's really important. I want to beat everybody out, give a strong offer with a tight deadline. So that way the seller, I can just create that sense of urgency, so they're not trying to shop me around all the time. Another thing too is I will never, ever, ever take the commission away from the listing agent. These listing agents work very hard for these deals for the most part. And a lot of times they're not super expensive houses that we're buying. They're distressed, like between, $20,000 to maybe $150,000, and really 3% of 150, a little like $4,500 or whatever. It's not a lot of money to get that 3%. And it makes it a lot more appealing for them to want to work with us when we're giving them both sides. Even when I was a realtor, I never ever took it. And the way I explain this to the agent on my team, whenever I pick up a new property, is they know that they always get my other listings. They get my listings that, say I did want to flip a house, right? They would get that listing. Say I went out and was found an off-market lead that I couldn't make work. Well, they got that listing, right? So I fed them lots of other ways. And for me, it's just really, really important to be able to pick up the house and give the listing agent, a great incentive to make me the buyer instead of kind of waiting for other people and whatever else. I want my offers to be clean and clear. I don't want a bunch of contingencies, if, ands, buts, does, in, that, whatever. And we're going to go over the offers here in a different training. So that'll be a separate training just about making a clean and clear offer. So check that training out for the clean and clear offer. But a quick recap is going to be, limited inspections, clear and defined inspections. I'll start with 10 or 15 days for inspections, and a clean and clear close date around the seller's schedule. If I need to finesse it at all, I will. I'm not going to ask for any kind of crazy contingencies, whatever it might look like. Like, I have to have all the appliances. I have to have the cool arcade games. Like, I just want the house. Like, if the stuff's left, it's a plus, whatever. But I also will never ever submit that offer without a proof of funds, just to show that I do have the ability to close on that property. Again, I said this before and I mean it. List price does not matter. I've bought things way above list. I bought things way under list. If I run my numbers and I find out the house is worth X, the rehab is this, and I can buy it for $60,000 after running all my numbers, and the house is listed for 30. Well, if I need to get aggressive, I'm gonna offer 40. I'm gonna offer 50. I'm not worried about list price. It's just a suggested price. It's not the end all be all. Run your numbers and make the price according to your numbers. Don't bend, don't bow, stay true to your numbers. Again, do not ever, ever, ever force a deal. If you have to say the words like, I can make it work, or if I don't do this, or whatever, like, that's a recipe for disaster. Do not force a deal. The second you force a deal, a home run will come around the corner when you least expect it, and you'll be all tied up. It's just not worth it to stress out trying to make deals work. It's just not fun. I've been there. I don't recommend it. It's terrible, and I don't want that for you guys. And always run your own comps. Realtors, no matter what, they're going to run comps. They're going to pull comps and give them to you, and they're going to be all over the place. You ask 5 different realtors to pull comps, they're going to give you 5 different ARVs 90% of the time. You need to go through and pull your own comps. Be confident in pulling your own comps. Go through the comps training over and over and over again. Take the comp quizzes over and over and over again until you are so confident in doing this that you can do it with your eyes closed. And this is where understanding the sold comps on our hot sheets plays in big, big, big time. So be confident. Go out there. You're going to be able to get these deals. Follow these tips. Consistency always wins, no matter what. So keep it up, guys. Keep going through the trainings, and let's go out there and get this. In this training, I want to talk to you about setting up your hot sheet, the most efficient way for you to be able to buy these properties that are listed on the market, on the MLS, multiple listing service. And I'm going to share with you how I set mine up to help me buy over 500-600 deals that were listed on the MLS. So this training is going to be about setting up your hot sheet. So first, let's define it. What is a hot sheet, right? Hot sheet, it's a sheet that shows you listings and events. Now, we'll go exactly into detail here in a moment about that. But for example, it lets me know when there's a new listing, a price increase, decrease, a change in status, whatever it is that may have occurred on the MLS that covers a 24-hour span. Basically, it's an email notification that you're going to get once or maybe twice a day about what's happening in your target zip codes. What does it require? Well, guys, just like anything, and this is kind of something I'm going to beat in everybody's head, is this stuff requires effort, consistency, and a commitment to the activities, right? This isn't a sheet we look at once and then say, oh, cool. This isn't something we look at the end of the week and look at the week's worth of data. Every single day, we got to make time to go through this so we can really understand, what's happening in our areas, in our zip codes, in those target spots. So what you need, we need to know where and why we're buying. Really simple. We talk about this a lot. Identifying your zip codes. Where do you want to buy? Where do you want to be an expert at? We're wholesaling, we're buying, holding, whatever our strategy is, whatever it's looking like. I need you guys to become experts and identify those zip codes you want to be in. At this point, you should have already done that. And if you haven't or you're not 100% sure, go back to those trainings and let's really nail it in. Because I want you to be experts in certain zip codes, right? I don't want you to say, I'm casting this huge net everywhere. I want us to be hyper focused on between 8 and 15 zip codes that we can really, really hone down and become the expert at in those neighborhoods. So the second thing is we're going to need a real estate agent that's on our team or MLS access. So whether you're a realtor, you have a realtor on your team that's helping you out with this kind of stuff, we're going to need them to set us up on a search on the MLS so we can get this data and get it set up. And the next thing we're going to need is an email address. Not very hard, really, really simple. This takes an agent about 3 minutes to set up a hot sheet. Doesn't take long, very, very easy. They set it up one time for you and it's done. You'll get the notifications and the emails forever. So it doesn't take a lot and it's a very, very high ROI for us as the real estate investors. So I want to break down exactly what you're going to have on your hot sheet here. So the first field that we want is I want to know when any property goes active in my targeted zip codes. So going active is really simple. It just means it's a new listing. It means the property just hit the market and it's available for somebody to buy. I want to know because I want to see what's happening in my areas, right? I want to know what's available and what I have a chance to go buy potentially. The next I want to know is pending. What has gone pending? Pending is properties that have been put under contract. So what that means is the property will go active, and then when somebody wants to go to buy it, they'll put a contract on it. Then when they have an accepted contract, that property changes to pending status, which means it's pending to close. But first, it has to go through inspections and contingencies, which we'll get into that in a different training, but I'll hit on that here in just a second. So it's pending. That means the home is no longer for sale. It's pending to close to a buyer. Sold. Properties that have closed. These are properties that have went from pending to sold. They've went through all the inspections, all the due diligence, the financing and everything else, and now they're closed. Now that seller is officially sold and the buyer is officially bought and owns that house. The money's transferred and it's all done. Price reductions. So price reductions are whenever a home is on the market, it's on active, and then they're just not getting the activity they want. Showings are kind of stalling, this and that, and they need to just breathe some life into this listing, right? So what do? They decrease the price to try to get some more people looking at it. So it's really important. I want to know when the price decreases happen because could be a really, really good sign of whenever somebody can be motivated to sell, especially if it falls enough to hit my criteria where I want to buy at. Back on markets, great tool. And again, I'm going to dive into a few of these in a separate training, but I want to specifically make sure you understand to set up your hot sheets at the end of this training. So back on market are properties that have started active, went pending, went under contract, and then the contract blew up for some reason. Financing, inspections, whatever it might be. But now that a property is available for you to purchase again, or anybody to purchase really. So that's a back on market. And the last one is expired listings. Now, whenever a property gets listed, you have a listing agreement with your realtor for 6 months, 12 months, 3 months, whatever that is. And if for some reason the property doesn't sell during the time of that contract, that listing agreement, well, the listing's expired. And that means that the buyer goes their way and the listing agent goes the seller goes their way and the listing agent goes a different way. The property's done, it's expired, it's no longer on the market. So set up your hot sheets with these criteria and make sure you're getting them at least once a day so you can study these. Make time to get in here and study what's going on. I'm going to dive a little deeper into each of these, but the next thing I want to dive into are the sold comps. I need you to understand the importance of this because this is where you're going to become an expert in your zip codes. You're going to study these sold comps and you're going to live in here for the next 60, 90 days. If you're new, you're like, Jarius, I don't know where to get started. I don't know this or that. First thing I'm going to say is Identify your areas, set up your hot sheet, and study your sold comps. Because everything that we do that you're going to learn over and over again in this training, in this whole entire wholesale course, the off market course, the BRRRR Academy, everything is going to start with what is the ARV? What is the property worth? And we find that out by finding out what the comps are. And this is the backbone of all of our offers. Everything starts with what is the home worth. And when you understand your hot sheet and you can get these set up and you see deals pop up and, 2 weeks into it, 3 weeks into it, a month into it, you see certain deals pop up in certain zip codes and you instantly know the ARV, right? And you're getting that good over and over. So I want you to live in here. I want you to really, really study that. And that's where you're going to become an expert. And that's going to give you a huge competitive edge to beating out other people. And we're going to get into that here in another training as well. So not only get these comps, not only let them come, check them out, but take time to go drive them. Take time to leave your house 20 minutes early, 15 minutes early, and go drive these sold comps and get eyes on them and see what they look like and see if you can catch a pattern, something familiar happening with them, and just become an expert and knowing what your homes are worth in your target zip codes. So set that stuff up, get it done immediately, and let me know if you have any issues or any questions at all. But I'm telling you right now, this is one of the highest ROI activities, tools you can set up in your entire real estate business. Get in there and let's master this. Let's get it set up, and I'll see you on the next training. Let's talk about sold listings. And I've mentioned this before, but it's so important. I want to spend a minute and just talk about it. Sold listings on these hot sheets, on this information that we get, it's going to be the most important data that you're going to get. And if somebody's brand new, you guys are brand new, you're just getting started, you don't know what to do, I want you to identify your zip codes. Find out where you want to buy, why you want to buy, identify those zip codes. Do between 8 and 12, 8 and 15, whatever makes the most sense, something that's reasonable and manageable for you to really keep track of. And I want you to live in this area. I want you to live and study these sold comps. I want you to drive the sold comps. I want you to understand the price per square foot, the bed and bath makeup, the streets. Really, really take your time in becoming an expert in these sold areas. Because once you do that and you really understand it, it becomes so easy for you to be able to evaluate a property so quickly, because you know the ARVs, because you've lived in this space for so long studying the sold comps that they just come to you like that. And when the sold comps and the ARVs come to you like that, the rest of it is going to start coming really fast. And I really, really attribute so much of my success, especially for buying off the MLS, for speed, because of my speed, how quickly I can make decisions, underwrite the deals. And it really came from understanding the sold comps and then also understanding the rehab budget. And that's something you guys are going to get better and better and better at. But one thing that you can control and homework you can start on right now, in addition to everything else, is this: studying these sold comps and living in this area. And like I said, drive the comps, get in the areas, but study these sold comps, and that will make you an expert, and it's going to make everything so much easier. So we have our hot sheet set up. We already talked about attacking the different data points on there, the information that we get. And I want to take a second to hit expired listings, because, guys, they're really, really powerful. When that expired listing hits, I know that there's a motivated seller behind that expired listing. Now, there are a few factors that are going to come into play. Are they super overpriced? Like, is that an issue? Does the house need too much work? Like, what's the story behind it? But I'm all for finding out the story is, because all I need is one deal to hit for it to make sense. So it's a numbers game. I'm filling my funnel. I'm not going to get hyper obsessed with any one particular property or any one particular thing, but I do want to fill my funnel. And the last thing I want is to have a deal come through that I see that's expired, get passed by me, and then somebody else has it. Like, that's a feeling you don't want. Some of you might have felt that. It sucks. It's not fun. So let's go in here and really dive in and talk about how we attack these. Well, we attack them a couple of different ways. One is reverse prospecting. We're going to reach out and find the seller directly. And to get the reverse prospect training, click the link. I'll have a hyperlink below. And I dive deeper, really deep in reverse prospecting, how to find people and all that good stuff. But for this, I'm just going to keep it really simple. Reverse prospecting, get the training below in the hyperlink, and just driving out to the property and leaving one of my door tags, leaving one of those sticky notes and putting them out there to let them know, hey, there is a buyer here. And just because we didn't connect on the MLS doesn't mean I'm not interested. Wasn't interested at that price, wasn't interested with realtors involved, whatever the story is. But go out there, put a sticker, and maybe you'll even run into the buyer, or I'm sorry, run into the seller, and then you can talk to them there. And you can see what's going on, what the story is, and what all that stuff looks like. Maybe the agent did a poor job marketing. Maybe they fell in and out of contract a few times, and then the buyer just got exhausted. They didn't want to deal with it anymore, right? So go out there, drive, and best case scenario, you'll be able to make contact with somebody, and that would be incredible. So I want to also show what it looks like when these hot sheets come and hit your email. So this is one that I set up for a friend of mine a while ago, Nick Loverick. You guys have seen him. He's been active a little bit in the community, but he's doing some incredible bigger deals now, which is amazing. But we had his set up to see pending, sold, expired, listing, active, everything I told you guys to, right? And this is cool because this is one random one I picked out of the email, and this is how they get delivered to the prospect. And I set it up so I could see it as well. But I would also pull a real one, but right now the MLS in Cincinnati is currently hacked and held for ransom, which is crazy. So this will do. This gets the point across. But we can see the changes that were made in the last 24 hours. This went pending, $54,000. Like, that's interesting, right? I mean, this is insanely cheap. A 2 to 4 unit for $55,000. One sold for $68,000. 45206, 45202. Just notice the zip codes. Man, notice the the area. I know 45206 is lower price hill. I know 68,000. It's probably going to need a lot of work at that. The photos have expired, so we don't get to see those, but you will get to see those. 1 day on market. That did not take long. Things I pay attention to. Days on market, 23 days on market, and it's pending. So it's going rather quickly. And then the next page, 135, another 2 to 4 units, pending after 8 days on market, 45223. That's the College Hill area. Another one here in Mount Healthy. Where are we at here? Mount Healthy, 45231. Wow, look at that. This is interesting, right? Canceled after 112 days. Or no, I'm sorry, that one's pending after 112 days. This one here on Maple on Hamilton. Hamilton's further north, but there's a lot of big stuff happening in Hamilton right now. Spooky Neck Athletic Center is going in there. A lot of the stuff we talk about is happening up there. Sorry, spider on my screen. So, but this is interesting because, and I'm curious to see, what happens to this. What happened to this thing? Because it's, it's 100. It was on the market for 100 and 100 and let's look again. Hold on one second. 158 days. So this is one that I would go follow up with. I'd go reverse prospect and see what's going on, go sticker and door tag. But this is how I would attack expired listings to get the detailed training about reverse prospecting. Like I said, click the link below and I'll take you in there. But that's how we use expired listings. And I promise you, you will find deals doing this.